Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Circle the World podcast, where we discuss Joe Abercrombie's First Law series. I am one of your hosts, Lord Chamberlain Jeffrey, and here are my co-hosts.
Archlector George.
And Harrison, the Adeptus Historical.
We continue our coverage of Best Served Cold, Joe's first standalone, and the next First Law entry after the original trilogy. And on this episode, we review No More Delays and All Business. So, let's get started. As you know, folks, we have to start off each episode by thanking you over and over and over and over again for your continued support. You guys just keep following us, and it's so nice. And just you ask us questions, and you really care about what we have to say.
Well, maybe they don't.
Maybe they no. I think more than anything, they want to just correct our dumbasses. So. What are you gonna do? But
we appreciate that too. We appreciate criticism as well as praise. So that's fun.
Oh, but remember,
isn't that right, Jeffrey?
yeah. But just remember to redirect all criticism to the Archlector for non-nefarious purposes. We're totally not keeping record and finding out where you live. And
it's definitely not a list.
Yeah. You just made the list. Thank you all. Really do appreciate it. And without much further ado, we'll get right into it. We got 2 chapters to go through. And these are kind of a couple more setup chapters before we get into the big shebang of Austria. This one is No More Delays. I believe we had announced we were going to cover this chapter last episode. We lied to you. Thanks. I lay all blame at the feet of Harrison, your Adeptus Historical, issuing proclamations that are incontrovertibly untrue. How dare you?
Well, I think that last episode did turn out at around an hour and 20 minutes. Or an hour and 10 minutes.
We ran long. We will not run long this one, I promise you. Maybe more like a tentative promise. Anyway, so we start off with No More Delays, and we start this chapter with the perspective of our boy, infamous soldier of fortune, Nikomo Koska. Yeah, at first he's starting off, he's in his tent, he's looking himself in the mirror, he's, getting himself all purdy for the upcoming battle, and he's just talking out loud, right? He is philosophizing. We're gonna get a lot of philosophizing out of Nikomo Koska in the next couple of chapters. And
I like how this was set up earlier with in the kitchen with Koska and Friendly in the morning, and it's exactly this. Like, this is the best person for Koska to talk to, because he won't talk to himself. He's got some pride, He's not just going to ramble on when he's the only person in the room. But having Friendly there, who is never going to fucking say a word unless asked a direct question. Perfect.
Very true. Very true. And I apologize. We don't start with Koska's point of view. We start from Friendly's point of view, because Friendly's helping him get ready, right?
Yes.
And Friendly is counting how long it's taking Koska to get ready, how many razor passes, how many times it takes.
Nose hair trimmings.
Yeah, 4 pairs of hooks and eyes, 18 straps to tighten and buckles to fasten. And then Koska tells him, hey, I want you to take the position of first sergeant of the brigade. And Friendly goes, I don't know anything about war. And he goes, you don't need to know anything. Basically, you just got to keep close to me, keep silent but sinister, support and follow my lead where necessary, and most of all, to watch my back and yours. The world is full of treachery, my friend. And so Friendly goes, okay, well, I did that for Sajam and safety and out of safety, so I could do that. And so then he goes, Koska goes, what a reliable man. Whatever would I do without you? And Friendly, he didn't understand. He goes, the same things. He goes, no. He goes, no. I mean, like, we're not. We don't know each other for a long time, but there's an understanding between us, a bond. We are very much alike. And Friendly goes, we are nothing alike. Koska goes, you see my point? Exactly. We are entire opposites, yet we are both missing something that others take for granted. But we are different cogs on the same wheel, and perhaps between the two of us, we may make one half decent human. Oh, and Friendly goes, oh, like one whole from two halves. He goes like, yes, yes. And then he goes, I have never been a reliable man. No, don't try to deny it. Friendly did not. But you, my friend, are constant, clear-sighted, single-minded. You are honest enough to make me more honest. Friendly goes, I spent most of my life in prison. He goes, where you did more to spread honesty among Styria's most dangerous convicts than all the magistrates in the land, I do not doubt. Honest men are so very rare. They are often mistaken for criminals, for rebels, for madmen. What were your crimes anyway, but to be different? Friendly answers, literally, robbery the first time, and I served 7 years. When they caught me again, there were 84 counts with 14 murders. Costco raises an eyebrow. But were you truly guilty? Friendly goes, yes. Costco goes, he holds on a beat. He goes, nobody's perfect. Let's leave the past behind us. Anyway, how do I look?
I love that Costco's always doing this. Like whenever he talks about his own deeds or anything that he's done, he's always like bigging it up as much as possible. And then he tries to do it to Friendly, and Friendly's just like, no, that's just not how it happened.
Friendly could have been like, I ate babies for breakfast, and Costco would have been like, a delicacy in some parts.
Who hasn't?
Harrison, you were going to say something?
I just gonna say I really like that. Like Casca, he's weird, right? But I really, really enjoy that he is like he recognizes the fact that him and Friendly complement each other in all the right ways, and he's not doing like it's hard to tell how much he's like using that against Friendly because he knows Friendly can't really tell the difference, or how much of it is him like just genuinely like enjoying somebody who makes him a little bit better because he compliments him. But I just like that he points that out, that their opposites attract, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I think Casca can implicitly trust Friendly, right? I think he Friendly has proved himself earlier in the book to be reliable, dependable. He will do the job to the T, to the letter, right? And he doesn't talk a lot. He doesn't have his own like personal motivations, really, which is interesting. He doesn't have ulterior motives. You ask him to do something, he just does it. And I think
he's just trying to survive. He's just trying to get by,
Yeah. And I think Casca.
What's he going to do if he isn't being looked after by Casca or by Sir That's the only way he knows.
Yeah, and I think Casca is being pragmatic. Is like that's a great person to have around because he'll do what I say, which is the pragmatic side of things. But I think Casca does genuinely enjoy having Friendly around. Because I think if he didn't, I think if he would have been like manipulating him some way, we would have gotten that from Casca's point of view.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
But I feel like it is a kind of manipulation, but at the same time, like
maybe
Friendly's not exactly. If Friendly didn't want to be there, he'd just go, "No, I'm going."
Yeah, exactly. And maybe Casca, maybe he is manipulating Friendly without knowing it. Like such like a. So
also known as normal human interaction.
Yeah, there you go. So what did I say? He goes, how do I look? And then Friendly answers by taking in the entire, how Casca normally dresses when he was broke. Now imagine him when he's like Captain General. He goes like a pimp who lost his mind in a military tailor's. Which I love it. And then Casca, he goes, precisely the look I was going for. All right, now to business. And so then we switch over to, I believe it's Casca's point of view. And they get into the tent now where the rest of the captains are for the 1,000 Swords. Everyone's clapping, cheering him on as he gets to the chair or to the whatever. And then, he gets to the big barrel and he steps up on it to, I guess, address the men. And Casca goes, no, too much honor. You guys, your fond attentions, you're shaming me. But he's clearly lapping it up, right? And here he kind of gives them like a little pep talk. He talks about listen, we're gonna yeah, we're gonna go to battle against Duke Rogan. But they were gonna send us into the front lines, and I said, no, 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 boys, that's not what we do. It's not what the Thousand Swords do. We wait, and then we attack them in the rear. The easy job first. All right, we don't put our lives on the line.
And the whole time he's making these great jokes too, like just classic. I love how Joe always like has a crowd reactions. He says something and the crowd goes ah ha 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 ha. Or like, oh, classic Casca. Oh, he's so funny. But I mean, he's really good at it though. This is exactly the kind of speech that these guys need to hear, which is, listen, guys, we're mercenaries. We do this for money, for glory. I'm an expert at it. You guys all know that. Let's do our thing.
Yeah. And then after he gives them the speech, he tells, attend to your superiors, your sergeants, and all that, and get ready. And his captains, Andish, Cesaria, and Victus, you still got it. Haha, yeah, that's right. You all that jazz. He sits in the chair overlooking, I guess, the field or like near it, and then because they made a joke about how like speeches aren't like, they're shit, but he did it anyway because just to rally the men up, but he knows it's for shit. And then we cut over.
Well, he does say, to be fair, he does say, like, Andy says, oh, well, it's a good speech if you're like into that. And then Koska says, I am. Yeah. I do like speeches actually, which is funny because he's all about the bravado, so it just fits into this character.
No, absolutely. And then we cut over to Monza's perspective, and Rogan starts doing his speech. He starts
Free man of Austria.
And it's the classic fantasy speech.
We fight against the terrible evil. Now we stand for our homes. Here to protect our land, our people, your wives, your children. It's the most cliche thing. Yeah.
I half expected him to end it with Fort Eolinga.
Yeah. Oh no, Rogon wishes he was there in the right hand.
I know. And Monza doesn't. She has no use for speeches. She thinks they're wasteful. It's better to just move fast and hit hard instead of wasting time talking.
I love that. Like she's sitting up there with him, right? I love this image of her sitting up there, and he's like trying to use her as like, look, that's right, we got the snake of talent on our side. It's all about the appearances. And as she's like, we will fight a great battle today, and then she like just spits on the ground. It's like a huge glob, and she does it again. Like she's so funny.
Yeah, and she looks around at him. Yeah, he cuts a nice picture. The soldiers look well. The archers, the cavalry, gleaming in their military and all this stuff. And
Jeff, if I can interject real quick, the troops that they talk about, they've got armored foot soldiers that are like the core of Austria's troops, like their main line. They're all wearing like plate and are using pikes. Then they've got light troops on the side wearing like leather jerkins meant to kind of fill in the gaps where they can. And then interestingly, they do have flat bows, of course, because that's the tech of the time. But they also have longbows as well, which is like the only mention I think of longbows in the entire series.
It actually is, That actually is.
And I think that's pretty interesting. And
I think the Northmen used longbows before, like aside from Bethod's army.
I think a lot of the mention of the bows that they have, it seems like they would be more of a short bow than a long bow.
Right.
They have bows, but like, like here he just treated like distinctly like this is a regiment of their own, like longbowmen,
right?
Which is
it makes sense. It makes sense as well because you want the range as well as the power. I mean, crossbows are good, or flat bows, whatever, but they just don't have as much range, partially because the projectile is smaller and heavier.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it loses momentum a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's kind of cool to see the little combined arms thing with the multi, because it's like we don't really get as much of that, and he gets more in depth with that as the series goes on. But I do like the little details of talking about the different little regiments that he's got set up. And I wonder if he brought the longbowmen specifically because they're fighting on a river battle, and he needed them to be able to rain down on top of the troops more so. It's
Those
interesting.
old choke point maps on Total War, isn't it?
That's right. But that's all I had to say. I just wanted to point that out.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, thank you for that, Harrison. And Rogan gives his speech. Apparently, it gets punctuated with the giant shit that his horse took, and then Monza's looking around, and then we see that she sees a certain person that she is familiar with, and she goes, "Oh no, Carlot Dan Eider." She goes, "What the fuck is she doing here?" Duke Rogan goes, "Yeah, what, do you know her?" She goes, "Yeah, I know her. I know her." And Rogan goes, "Well, she came to me in peril for her life, begging for protection. Under what circumstances could I possibly refuse?" Make a joke that if she had been ugly, he goes, "Look, I'm shallow. I get it."
I love that he's honest about that. Though it's brilliant. I mean, let's be honest. If there was some ugly lady who came up to us and it's like, "Hey, help me," we'd probably help her. But it'd be much more enjoyable if we were helping somebody who was pretty. Let's just be honest, right?
Yeah.
Especially since Carla Denida is unfortunately been reduced down to. Let's be real. She's kind of a slut at this point. I'm not saying that. I'm just being honest about it.
You
That's
don't
true.
need to say it like
She's
that.
she's using her natural gift to her advantage.
Oh my god.
She's
trying to
available.
Listen, I'm not slut shaming her. She's doing what she's got to do. I'm just saying.
Just called her a slut, so therefore you are slut shaming her.
You already know that he slept with her, okay? She sleeps with almost everybody in this book. She would have slept with fucking Glock if she had the chance.
That is true.
Listen, she knows how to use the tools God gave her, right?
Okay, all right. Anyways, the point is like they obviously slept together too. So he's like, "Oh, of course I had to help her. I mean, you know."
Mm-hmm. And so Carla rides up to them. And they start bickering immediately, which makes sense. Carla is not exactly forgiving of the fact that Monza forced her to take part in Ario's murder, right? And to the point where Rogan, he just snaps. He's like, "Jesus Christ, Ari, can you stop? Don't you know that I have a battle to fight? All I need now is for that vanishing devil Ishri to spring out of my horse's ass and give me my death of shock to complete the trio."
Which is so meta, because he's talking about like he's come out to Joe always does this 3 times thing that you guys always like to point out.
The rule of 3.
Yeah, it's so funny that he mentions that.
Yeah. And then he goes, "Look, if that's all you're going to do, then the two of you can get behind the city walls and leave me out here by myself." Eider goes, I'm here to wish you the best of fortune." And Monza goes, "Oh, you sure you wouldn't care to fight?" Eider goes, "There are other ways of fighting than bloody in the mud, Mercado. You'll see." And I guess they get interrupted by somebody, calls out to Rogan, and they see the Talanese. They cross the crest of the rise, whatever, and it's like
it's like that scene in every single fucking war film you've ever seen where they come over the ridge.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly that. Harrison, did you want to talk about how the Talanese are structured, set up, looking like, all that?
I mean, it's essentially like the main note that he kind of points out here is that the Talanese are, we had kind of questioned, Jeff, that why would Duke Orso send Foscar to lead this army with such little experience and everything like that? Well, this is why, because he's so certain he's going to win. He's got twice the numbers, plus the mercenaries. All they have to do is attack. That's all they really got to do. They don't got to do some kind of complicated maneuver. That's all on Casca's end. Mm-hmm. And so, just other than the fact that they're all pretty well equipped and Monza knows what they're capable of, she's led them in battle. The Talanese soldiers seem to be much more... like they've all fought in battles throughout time, and won most of them. So these are all veterans. They all have, they're well equipped using that Valiant bulk money. So unlike half of Duke Rogan's army, which is like kind of cobbled together with whatever they can find, this is like a proper fighting force with double the numbers. So it's definitely not looking good. Even though they got to cross the river, they have plenty of men. Like they have way more than was probably necessary. So
And you do have to bear in mind as well that Rogant's forces have never fought a battle. They've literally been retreating for the last like 8
Like
years.
10 years, yeah. Yeah, so they're wildly inexperienced. Like, yeah, they're equipped, but they're at the, and to be fair to Rogant, they're at their home turf. So like there is a certain amount of element. They know that they're this is a desperate fight, but nothing's better than veteran troops, you know?
No, true, very true. And then so they know where Duke Orso's troops are, and then Rogan asks Monza, "Where are your comrades, the 1,000 swords?" And she bets. She goes, "I bet they're right there. At the upper ford. They're like behind that hill there. Which what they're gonna do is pretty straightforward. They're gonna engage you here at the lower ford, and then once we're committed, they'll just come over and take us in the rear." And he asked for advice, and she says, you should have turned up to Sweet Pines on time, or Macelia, or the High Bank, all this other stuff. And she goes, you have the smaller force. And he goes, well, we have the better position. He goes, yeah, but to get it, you gave up the initiative, lost your chance of surprise, trapped yourself. The general with the smallest numbers is well advised to stay always on the offensive. Rogan goes, oh, you're Stullicus. I'd never had you down as a reader.
He's such a misogynist.
Yeah.
He always said that because she's a woman. I mean, like she's won every single fucking battle she's in, and what, she can't read? Like what?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there is a bit of a difference between being able to read and then actually reading, but
yeah. So
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
And she tells him, like, look, really what you can do now is pretty much the obvious. Hit the Talonese with your archers as they cross, then all your foot as soon as their front ranks touch dry land. Keep the cavalry here to hold up the 1,000 swords if they show up. When they show up, you just hope to break Foscar quickly, and while everyone's in the river, and then turn to the mercenaries. If they see that the Talonese are foundering, then they won't stick. They'll leave.
Yeah.
But breaking Foscar, that's gonna be tough, because if Orso thought you had a chance, he would have picked a commander more experienced and less valuable. All he has to do is hold you, basically. And he goes, if the prophet sent you money, now might be the time, because he's like the contingent of Gurkish priests. He goes, look, he only sent money and kind words.
Yeah, they need a miracle from Monza's perspective.
Yeah, and so Monza looks up towards that hill where she thinks Casca could be at. She wonders if Nakomo Casca is up there, squinting towards them with through his eyeglass. And then we cut over to Casca's perspective, squinting towards them through his eyeglass, and and he looks at them. He goes, "Wow, okay, so they're ready to go." And then the captains are like, "So what do we do?" He goes, "What are they doing?" And Casca goes, "Oh, right. They're still forming up." And so Rigrat sends word that the Talonese are beginning their attack, and he could see that through the eyeglasses. Like, okay, great. And so he goes, all right. So let's see. We will witness the bloodshed. So he tells them to order the men forwards 50 strides, perhaps beyond the brow of the hill. And Deej goes, but they'll be seen. We'll lose the surprise. And Casca goes, shit on the surprise. Let them see the battle and let the battle see them. Give them a taste for it. And Deej goes, but General, you give the orders, man. Do not fuss. And
I love this. I love how like Casca is like this with everything. This is whenever I was reading this, I was like, it's so in character for him to do weird shit.
Yeah.
You can never tell if he's got some grand plan, if it's for his own pride, if it's because he's trying to get somebody else to do something, if he's trying to be super clever. You never quite know what it's going to be, but he's always got a reason for he's doing it. So when I first read this, I was like, I wonder what his plan is. Does he actually even care? Like, I like it. It fits in character.
No, very much.
I kind of feel like it's the opposite though. Like you can interpret Casca's character in so many different ways, because he could literally just be making this decision right now. We'd never know.
True.
Right. I mean, when I first read this chapter, I was already I don't know if I trust this, that he's fighting for Orso, like for sure, and he's gonna bring down the downfall of Monza. Like, we just spent a lot of time with him.
Yeah.
in the group, the little merry band of murderers, and you're telling me that now he's definitely gonna go. Like he asked for her forgiveness and everything. I don't know. I don't know, but we'll see. And then we cut over. Before we cut over, he's pretty pleased with himself of talking his way out of the position that the Taiwanese are in right now. He goes, who wants to be in the middle of all that? Fuck that. And I like that he raises Morvir's flask and took just a little sip, and then we cut over to Shiver's point of view, and he's back with near Monza. I get you not next to her, but near enough. And Rogan's troops are already firing arrows, all this stuff. He Shivers had seen enough battles, right? He's had an entire lifetime of them. He thinks about Blackwell running through the mist. He thinks about the Cumnor, where he screamed the war cry as they, with 5,000 others, as they thundered down the long slope. Dunbreck, where he followed Rudd 3 trees, rest in peace, in a charge against the Fenris the Feared. Battle in the high places, Shanka going all crazy, fighting back to back with the Bloody Nine, just all these kinds of memories. And he didn't really care so much about this because it's like this is not his war. And then that makes him think, why is he ready to fight in this war? And more than likely on the losing side of things. And he looks over from the battle to Monza, and he
just one thing before you move on, Jeff. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I love that description when he's talking about the past battles, the smells and the sounds, and I love the feel of the air on his own skin. Like I just feel like when he's so like hyper aware, and you've got that adrenaline rush, but he doesn't. They can't call it an adrenaline rush, but that is just a fantastic way of describing that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just. Go ahead.
I was going to agree with you. I think it's a great point. It's a really good description. I also really enjoyed too this whole little reverie he's having. Is like he's starting to think, like actually he's starting to think why he's taking the actions he's taking, and if he's actually wanting to do the things he's doing without thinking about it. And I think that's a really good like evolution of thought, because most people don't just say, "Oh, this is how I feel now." Like you have an emotional reaction, you start acting in a certain way, and then later, if you're smart and you have some time and you're thinking, you go, "Why did I take that action? Why am I acting this way?" And that's what he's doing now. He's starting to think, he's trying to figure out why and what he should do about how he feels. And I think that's really well done here, especially since we had this kind of build up to that point. It's really subtle, but he directly says like, why can't he get over this? I just really like it.
Yeah, he doesn't know if he loves her, wants her, or hates that she didn't want him. He can't stop going over it. And he's just looking at Monza, talking to Rogan, telling Rogan what to say. And he sees that they gave the order to charge. The two armies clash just on the banks of the river, and everyone's just quiet while all that chaos is going around, at least in the battle. And he ends with, one way or another, he was here for her, to fight for her, protect her, try to make things right between them, or maybe just hurt her like she hurt him. He closed his fist, nails digging into his palm, knuckles sore from knocking that servant's teeth out. They weren't done yet, that much he knew. And that's like a little dun 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 dun, and then we end the chapter right there. How do you rate that one, boys?
Arson?
How would you rate it, Jeff?
Another setup chapter, we're getting ready for the battle. The battle just starts by the end of this chapter. We get Casca being a little grandiose, extra full of himself. We get Friendly counting every little thing, how many times he shaves his face and all that jazz. But again, this is like set up to the larger chapter to come. I give this 5 out of 9 fingers.
I reckon I'll give it a 5 as well. Mm-hmm. Exactly what you said. It's a lot of setup, but there are a lot of character interactions. Mm-hmm. I like the interactions between Monza and Carla. I like how catty that Monza gets, even though she's about to fight a battle and she's arguing with Carla Tanito.
And Monza's completely in the wrong. She absolutely, Carla has absolutely all the reason in the world to be mad at Monza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say
the only reason why Monza. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought, George. I'll say mine.
The only reason why Monza even hates Carla is just because she happens to be connected to what's his fucking name?
Ario.
Well, Ario. Yeah, it happens to be connected to Ario, and that's it. Like, Carla has never done anything to Monza.
I do think that there is a little bit more to that. I think that Monza. I just thought of this, so I'm sorry if I have a hard time formulating this thought, but I think that Monza, whenever she sees other women, if they're not like as formidable as she is, she kind of looks down on them. Mm-hmm. And like she thinks Vitari, like for example, she respects Vitari. Vitari makes her own decisions. She's very clever. She's gonna do her own thing. But Carla, she feels like it's just trying to. That Carla's not using her brain. That Carla's just using her body, and she doesn't like that. Like she views her as inferior. I think there's a certain amount of like pride involved with that. And I mean, there's a lot of formidable women who are like this. Like my own wife doesn't get along with a lot of girls when she first meets them either, because she gets this little thing going on. And I think that Monza does the same thing. I think that it happens sometimes with certain women who are usually either alone or well established in something. And she's just like, ooh, Carla, what a slut in her own mind. Disgusting, you know, like, even though it's totally unfair for her to treat Carla that way. But it's also because Carla calls her out on all her shit. She's like, I know what you did, Monza. And Monza's like, fuck you.
Right. Yeah, I imagine Monza's probably like, Benna, that Carla is such a bad. She's such a slut.
Maybe she knows that. Maybe she views her as a threat too. Like she knows that Carla is formidable, and so she's like, I got to make sure I put her down because I don't want her to be as
she's a threat. She's a risk. You know.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So,
Carla's not going to forget being forced into her role in the chaos at Cardati's.
Yes. I think I'm gonna rate this one a 4 out of 9 for the same reasons you guys said. Pretty much, just it's a setup. There's, like you guys said, there's a lot of interactions and stuff, but we'll get a little bit more into this next one.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we'll move on to our next segment, and this one is best meme of the week. Georgie boy, this is you. Take it away.
So, before we start, last episode I had mentioned that we may have had a part in the increase in memes in the last couple of weeks, but the moderator of House of the Meme Maker, Sir Spaceman, contacted me personally to let me know that I had no part in it. So there's me told, I guess.
Good job, Sir Spaceman. We had zero influence on your decisions.
Yeah,
we are proud.
Thanks for destroying George's spirit.
Yeah, we thought we made a difference, man. We thought we made a difference.
So this week's meme is from Crates of Bigfoots. In the comments, they say that they've posted before under a different name. I don't know what that different name is. So this is a pie chart of Leo's greatest strengths, and none of the colours are actually on there. So his non-strengths are a brilliant tactician, embraces ethnic and sexual diversity, and 2 legs.
And then the pie chart shows a purple and a green that aren't even on the.
Yeah, like none of them are on. He's just got no strengths, or at least we don't know them. I think that's actually fucking brilliant. This is such a simple concept, but excellent. So thank you so much, Crates of Bigfoots, for that. That's a brilliant one.
Yeah. And Crates of Bigfoots, the top comment on that says in italic writing, Pharaoh doesn't understand this joke. And then the next comment says, I'm actually colorblind. I struggled with this for a bit myself. And I saw 2 legs and noticed that the colors didn't match, even for me.
Oh, and then the next comment is 2 legs. No, that's no easy feat.
No one after the set that says definitely no walk in the park.
Oh, I love this. I love this subreddit.
It's
I
a good
literally
one.
I go on every day like, oh, is there a new one?
It's a good one. It's a good one. Love it.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
it's beautiful.
Oh, that's good. That was good. Good job, George. Love that. Thank you for that. All right, so we'll move on to our final chapter read through. This is all business, and we start this one again from the perspective of Koska, and he's looking down at the battle, and they are committed. Only a few units of Rogons are hanging back to guard the archers, and the Austrian cavalry is there too as a last reserve, but they're too few and too far away. The Thousand Swords path to victory is unguarded, and Koska, in his own mind, thinks that now is the perfect time to attack. In his own mind, and then Andish gives word to agreement by saying, "It looks like it's getting hot. Should I tell the men to mount up?" And Koska goes, "It's still early. Let's not trouble them just yet." And Andish goes, "Are you sure?" And Koska looks at it and goes, "Do I look unsure?" And Dish goes, "All right." And so then he walks away, and then Koska goes, "What was I saying, Friendly?" And Friendly goes, "A chance to leave all this behind." He goes, "Yes, yes, yes. I had the chance to leave all this behind, yet I chose to come back. Change is not an easy thing. I see and understand the pointlessness and the waste of it all, yet I do it anyway. Does that make me worse or better than the man who does it thinking himself ennobled by a righteous cause, or the man who does it for his own profit without the slightest grain of thought for right or wrong? Or are we all the same?" Friendly can only shrug. Men dying, men maimed, lives destroyed. I have spent half my life in the business of destruction, the other half in the dogged pursuit of self-destruction. I have created nothing but widows, orphans, ruins, and misery, perhaps a couple bastards, and a great deal of vomit. He goes,
I think that's such a philosophical kind of conversation. It's the whole amoral versus immoral,
right.
Like Friendly did all those things, and he'd never really thought about it. It was just like, oh yeah, no,
Just
gotta
did 'em.
die,
Yeah.
Just did 'em.
Whereas Koska kind of is fully aware of the ramifications of his actions, and he just doesn't give a fuck.
Right. And then he he goes, "I have fought in many battles, Sergeant Friendly." And I like Friendly's only response to this is to ask how many. He needs to know the number, right? He goes, "A dozen, a score, more. It's fuzzy. I don't know. Some sieges dragged on. Do they count as well as one or several?" Friendly goes, "You're the soldier." He goes, "I don't even have the answers." Anyway, what was I saying? He goes, "Many battles." He's, yes, many battles. And I've tried to avoid becoming too involved in the fighting. All that stuff is just it gets chaotic, to the point where there's even some drownings in these hard pressed battles. And he goes, "How many drownings would you say?" Friendly asks him. He goes, "It's hard to be specific."
Friendly's like, no, I need to know.
And so he continues on with this whole fucking thing, and then Andish kind of goes, "General," and then Koska goes, "For pity's sake, what? I am trying to philosophize." And Andish goes, "Well, the Austrians are fully engaged. All their foot are tackling Foskar's troops. They have no reserves but a few horse." And Koska goes, "I see that. We all see that. There's no need to state the obvious." He goes, "Well, we'll just easily sweep those bastards away. You just give me the order and I'll see to it." He goes, "Thank you, but it's dreadfully hot out there right now. I am comfortable where I am. Perhaps later." And Disha goes, "But why not?" I don't get it. And then Koska goes, "It amazes me that after so long a campaign, the whole business of the chain of command still confounds you. You will find it far less worrisome if instead of trying to anticipate my orders, you just wait for me to give them. It's really the simplest of military principles." And Dish goes, "I understand the concept." He goes, "Then act according to it. Find a shady spot. Just chill out, all right? Just take a lesson from my goat. Do you see her fussing? We learn he has a goat."
I love Koska's absolute wonderful ability to change the subject.
Yeah.
Like he's like, "But why not?" He just goes on a rant, and he's just like, "But you haven't answered my question."
Yeah, and I like how the goat takes this moment to raise his head up from grazing, and goes, "Bah."
Perfect comedic timing there.
And then Andish is he looks at the valley, he looks up at Casca, he looks at the goat, and he just walks away and he just shakes his head. And then he goes back, Casca goes back to Friendly. He goes, everybody's in a rush. What was I saying? And then we switch.
So
go ahead.
One note here as we were putting together some stuff together today, and my wife was listening to this book with me while I was putting things together, and she was like, is he drunk? And I said, that's funny that you say that. We'll get to that later, but I want to know that somebody who doesn't, listen to the book series unless I'm listening to it on occasion, off and on. She was like, "Oh, is that guy drunk?" I think that's really interesting. I think we'll touch base on that later. But yeah, is Casca drunk here?
Well, he's drinking from that flask.
He's drinking from the flask, but I think it's very interesting that she basically pointed out to me that I mean, I don't know if we should say it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Do you guys think we should spoil it or no?
Not yet.
So,
but I know what you mean. Like from the way he's acting, this could easily be like somebody who's, just got back on the horse in a bad way, but he's also found his way back into power, and he's just like, yeah, fuck it, whatever, anything goes.
Yes, exactly right.
Very sure. Yeah, that's a very Casca thing to do. It's something we could expect from him. Right.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we cut over to Monza's perspective, and she's wondering why isn't Casca attacking? This is the perfect time to attack. Like fucking, he could just put an end to the League of Eight, to the battle, to her hopes. But no thousand swords. They didn't move. They're just standing there. And she goes, why show himself in the first place if he doesn't mean to come down? He's not an idiot. Why give away the surprise? And Rogan doesn't care at this point. He goes, why complain about it? The longer he waits, the better for us. We have enough to worry about. But Monza goes, oh, what's this motherfucker about? And then we come back over to Casca's point of view, and we see that Colonel Rigrat, as he is fuming. He had just arrived here, and he's like, Casca, Nikomo, Casca, damn you. And then I like how Casca replies by saying, Colonel Rigrat, a fine morning, my young friend. I hope all is well.
I just want to point out that this isn't even the most ridiculous name in these books.
Not at all.
Not
Fucking Rigrat. That's straight out of a Terry Pratchett novel. Fucking Rigrat.
And then he goes, why aren't you attacking? We are engaged in the valley, most hotly engaged. He goes, yes, so you are. Perhaps it would be better if we discuss this away from the men. Not good form to bicker. Besides, you're scaring my goat. And then Rigrat goes, what? And he goes, yeah, this my goat, the only one that truly understands me. Come to my tent. I have fruit there. Andish, come join us. And Rigrat is confused. What the fuck? And so he goes after him, and Friendly is with him as well. And then as soon as he gets in there, Casca talks about some flag that hung up on the walls of Muris about a dozen years ago. And then Rigrat goes, you look ill. Oh, no. Casca looks at Rigrat and goes, you look ill. Have a grape. And apparently the man's face was rapidly approaching the color of grape. He goes, grape? Damn you. I demand you attack at once. I flatly demand it. And Casca goes, attack? Across the upper fort? Yes! According to the excellent plan you laid out to me last night? Yes! Goddammit, yes! And he goes, in all honesty, nothing would please me more. I love a good attack. Ask anyone. But the problem is, you see, I took a lot of money from Duke Orso's Gurkish friend to not attack. And then out of nowhere, Ishri comes out of nowhere. She goes, greetings.
There she is. Third time.
Third time. That's it.
That time's the show.
And then Rigrat and Andish they're both stunned. They're like, what the fuck? And then he goes, it's a dilemma, a moral quandary. I want so badly to attack, but I cannot attack Rogan. And I can scarcely attack Foskar when his father has also paid me so handsomely. In my youth, I jerked it this way and that, just as the wind blew me. But I am trying earnestly to change, Colonel, as I explained to you the other evening. Really, in all good conscience, the only thing I can do is sit here and do nothing. It's motherfucker. Rigrat makes a move for his sword, but Friendly grabs grabs him from behind. He goes, no, 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 no. Has him by one hand and has a knife in the other hand. And Friendly takes the sword from him and throws it to Casca. Casca catches it. Is like, I congratulate you on your choice of blades. It's fine steel. And then Andish goes, you were paid by both to fight neither? My old friend, why didn't you tell me? God damn, it's good to have you back, and gave him a hug. And then Casca goes, are you sure? And then takes Rigrat's sword and runs through Andish with it. Just whack!
Whoa! Say what?
Uh-huh. And then he goes, you think a man can turn on me, betray me, give my chair to another for a few pieces of silver, and then smile and be my friend? You mistake me, Andish, fatally.
Yeah,
I
this
may
is fucking
make
cold, dude.
Yeah, I may make men laugh, but I'm no clown. And then he just lets
Hey,
Andish
you know what
follow.
they say? Revenge is a dish best served cold. There you go.
I love it. I love it.
It's great that he says this line too. Yeah, it is super like badass. But I think this is also like, if someone was to make an edit, if they make a TV show or a movie, and they actually succeed in doing so, this would be like the thing that he says before they dish out the edit in a video.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like before they start showing some hardcore edits of Casca doing some cool shit. This is what they would. This is the line that would be whispered. You know, like I love it. It's so good. It's so Casca, right? Like, I may be a funny man, right? I may be fucking ridiculous, but I'm not a fucking idiot. Like, it's so cool. I love it.
Yep. And he lets Andish fall to the ground. And then Ishri looks down and goes, interesting. Rarely I'm surprised. Mercado's the one that stole your chair, but you let her go free, no? He goes, look, on reflection, I doubt that the facts of my betrayal match my story. But in any case, a man can forgive all kinds of things in a beautiful woman that if they were an ugly men, we could not abide by. And there's one thing I absolutely cannot abide. It is disloyalty. You have to stick at something in your life. And then Rigrat chimes in. He goes, disloyalty? You'll pay for this, Casca. You treacherous. And then Friendly just stabs him in the neck. And then Rigrat just falls to his knees and fucking dies. And Casca goes, I was planning to ransom him back to his family. That was ungracious of you, Friendly. And Friendly goes, oh, I thought, follow your lead. I was being
I was being first sergeant.
And I like how Casca goes, of course you were. I take all the blame myself. I should have been more specific. I have ever suffered from unspecificity. And he goes, all right. Well,
is that a word?
No, it's not a word. I don't think so. And then he goes, well,
It should be.
He goes, annoying, pompous, swollen-headed man from what I saw. But if those were capital crimes, then half the world would hang, and myself as included. Anyway, corpses are a sad inevitability. Go ahead, George.
Sorry, Jeff. Just before you get into that, I just love that how that's just like an everyday interaction. Like, you make a mistake at work, and it's like, oh no, it's okay. It's my fault. Like I wasn't specific enough.
And we're talking
he's
about
just like bleeding out on the floor. Like, nah, don't worry about it.
Uh-huh.
That's awesome.
And then Costco, he crosses over to the tent flap. He takes a deep breath. And then he sweeps it aside dramatically. He goes, some help here. For pity's sake, some help. And he rushes back to Andisha's body. He puts it, like he holds it, takes the appropriate dramatic pose. And then Cesaria and Victus come bursting in. What the fuck? And then Costco goes, Andish, run through. And Victus goes, somebody get a surgeon. And then Ishri goes, better yet, a priest, because he's dead. And then they go, what happened? And then Ishri goes, Colonel Rigrat stabbed him. And they go, who the hell are you? He goes, Ishri. And then Costco goes, he was a great heart, a true friend. He stepped before the thrust. And Cesare goes, Andish did?
And I love how he's just like plainly not. He's not buying it. It's just like, yeah, okay.
He goes,
whatever you're doing, I'll go along with it, but whatever.
He goes, he gave his life to save mine. Thank the fates. that Sergeant Friendly moved as quickly as he did, or I'd have been done for too. My fault. My fault. I blame myself. And then Victus goes, why? Why did this bastard do it? And then Casca goes, my fault. I took money from Rogan to stay out of the battle. And Cesaria and Victus look at each other. He goes, you took money to stay out? And he goes, yeah, it's a huge amount of money. There'll be shares by seniority, of course. Double pay for every man in Gurkish gold. And Cesaria goes, gold? And he goes, but I would sink it all in the ocean for 1 minute longer in my old friend's company. To hear him speak again, to see him smile, but never more. Forever. Silent.
Oh, what a fucking excellent fucking monologue. And I just love it how it's so overdramatic and everyone's just stood there like everyone knows exactly what he's doing, but he's got to do it, just for the
And I like how Victus goes, how much gold are we talking about exactly? And Casca goes, huge quantity. As much again as Orso paid us to fight on his behalf. And then Cesario goes, Andish dead, a heavy price to pay. And Casca goes, too heavy a price, far too heavy. My friends, could you bring yourselves to make arrangements for the burial? I must observe the battle. We must stumble on for him. There is one consolation, I suppose. And Victus goes, the money? He goes, thanks to my bargain, we will not need to fight, and Dish will be the only casualty. You could say he died for all of us. Sergeant Friendly. And then they go out of the tent, and Ishri follows, and she murmurs in his ear, quite the performance. You really should have been an actor. He goes, there's not really a difference between an actor and being a general. But he goes, he desperately needs a drink, but Morvir's flask is empty, and he's looking down the valley. And then Casca goes, you Gurkish think there's a point to it all, don't you? That God has a plan and all that. And Ishri goes, I've heard it said. And what do you think God's plan is? And he goes, I've long suspected that it might be to annoy me. And she goes, she smiles. She goes, fury, paranoia, and epic self-centeredness in the space of a single sentence. All the
ingredients of a narcissist.
Yeah, and all the fine qualities of a great military leader. And here they are, perfectly on schedule, and they look at the first flags were showing there, the first glittering spears, the first of what appeared to be a considerable body of men. And the chapter ends there.
Cliffhanger, huh?
Bump, ba-da-dum, bump, bump, bump. And and we'll end the chapter there. Can't give you any spoilers until the next chapter, which is called the Fate Hysteria. But boys, how do you rate that chapter?
I really like this one. I'm gonna give it a 7. I love the thing that stands out for me is the interaction before when Friendly stabs Rigrat. Just comes up from behind and just stabs. It's like, oh shit.
Whoopsie.
I love that. Exactly. And just pairing that with such a big revelation that Koska's just like, oh yeah, no, I'm not gonna fight after all.
Yep.
I think it's brilliant, and it is more set up again for the battle, but it's a good one.
I think I would probably. I think I'm gonna go 7 as well because it's really, really funny. It's probably one of the funniest laugh out loud chapters. It's so it's just fucking stupid. No other character could pull this off so flawlessly as Casca. And it's really, really well done. Anybody else who would be in that situation would be like, "Oh fuck, how do I play this off?" Casca's like, "Oh, help me! I did it for money. Oh no!" I just think the whole scene, especially audiobook, and how it relates back to the last chapter with Ishri popping back out again for the 3rd time, and how they even mention that, and how the whole situation with you. He plays it off just so well. I think it's just very clever with how it's laid out between this and the last chapter. Yeah, and he kills Indish. Casca is not off the rocker. He knows exactly what he's doing. It's a little reminder that he's got very very planned out intentions for the actions he's taking, and it just makes like this is like Pete Kostka right here. We'll get some more Pete Kostka as the book goes on, but this is what really makes you be like, oh, this is how this drunkard was able to wield people, like in such a big group. Like he's a natural. He's in his element, and I think it's just a really good chapter that highlights that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. I must have missed when you gave the score. What was it, Harrison?
I said 7. Yeah.
You said 7? Well, okay. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and make it a trifecta, give it a 7 as well. This chapter is very, very enjoyable. Why are you guys laughing?
What?
Trifecta, bitch.
Huh?
Trifecta, bitch.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? No, that was the score I was
We're
gonna
not
give.
laughing at you, Jeff. We're laughing
No.
with you.
That was the score. That was the score I was originally going to give it anyway. And just funny how it all worked out. All right, hold on. Okay. This chapter was really good. And it's basically, it's kind of still set up, but not really. Now we're getting like, okay, moving parts, they're in play, right? And we get Kostka, as Harrison mentioned. We see how Kostka is so able to navigate complicated situations, he's able to navigate people's emotions, especially when they're highly charged, because he just redirects your attention even for brief moments. But meanwhile, he's been harboring this desire for vengeance all this time. Apparently, fucking just murders Andish, which is great. We got to talk about that in a minute. But he is going to be by his doing nothing, he is what's setting the stage for quite the turn of events in the next couple chapters, and it gets to be insane. We get great comedy with Kostka and Friendly involved, and then Ishri with her own like little bit comedic bits as well. She always makes like a nice like appearance here and there. She completed the rule of 3 as Rogant was pointing out. And yeah, I think 7 out of 9 fingers for me. Complete that trifecta, baby.
Woo! And not to mention, it's such a great cathartic moment as well because of how devastating it was for Monza at the end of that last chapter. The new old Captain General or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Like the way that she was absolutely fucking. She couldn't even walk from the shock.
Mm-hmm.
And now it kind of pays off in this comedic way, and I think that is just such a good way of even ingratiating you more to the characters, even though we love them already. They're just like, oh, this is brilliant.
Like you said with Andish, right? He kills them with intention. Like that was like he didn't have to do that at all, but he did, and just for revenge. And and he is, he's better at it than Monza is. That's for sure. He's way more. He's not nearly as blunt as she is and stuff, and he is a lot more subtle. But he also, like as Ishri points out, she's like, that's interesting. Why you're doing this whole thing? You took money from both. You're not gonna kill Monza. You're not gonna hurt her, but you're gonna kill this other dude who was not nearly as major as the other people. But I believe that's because Monza. He understands Monza unlike anybody else does, and so he knows why Monza did what she did, even if he's mad at her about it. And since it's very clear he loves her in some sense, maybe in a not the healthiest sense, but he does love her. He doesn't care about Andish. Fuck that guy. But I love that's pointed out, the fact that, yeah, if somebody who you love does something that is betrayal, it doesn't stop you from loving them. It just fucking hurts. And so for him, he's not gonna like punish just Monza because of that, because he knows that it wasn't just Monza. Maybe he knows more than anybody else that it wasn't just her.
Yeah, he knows.
So I just think that.
Yeah, like you were saying, I think he knows that Monza wouldn't have done that. I think that she was put in a position that she had no choice but to follow through. And
he deserved it, honestly.
Yeah.
At that point.
Well, yeah, but then also I think he knows that really besides it being Orso, the real driving force behind that was Benna, and Benna died, and then but it wouldn't have happened without Andish, Victus, and Cesaria, right?
Yeah.
So I guess he realizes that Monza is the tool, not the person, right? That,
Yeah.
like, if you were,
Because he
like,
knows who Monza actually is. He
Right.
knows how she operates.
and if he does harbor any resentment towards her, he's probably taking it out on Andish and them. He probably gave her his vengeance in his mind by taking the 1,000 swords from her. He's like, that's enough.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like-
he said, what did he say? Like, we're even now.
Yep, more than even, I say. He said
More than even, yeah.
Yep. So
But at the same time, I think Andish, the captains are more of a threat to him as well because they're directly under his command and they have the power to go and do the same thing again.
yeah, they did it to him before.
So he does, every time there's a big change of power, you got to cull, the enemy faction.
Yeah. You gotta call it. That's it. So there's that for the read through. We'll move on now to our final segment, which is our character spot. Boys, who are we spotlighting?
Andish.
Andish. We should throw Regret in there too, but yeah, Andish.
Yeah,
Andish, caveat of Regret. Regret is like just a dude.
He's just a dude.
He's like, I am the Duke Orsos general sent to be a liaison and advise. He obviously has no charisma. He was probably sent that way not because of his skills, but because of his lack of skills.
Well, yeah.
Hey, just go keep an eye on Koska for me, will you? You can't do anything else good.
Right, yeah, he's a colonel and he was under Ganmark.
Yes, right.
So, yeah.
He's just a dude.
And we already know these kinds of armies. I bet it's exactly the same as the Union army, where you can just buy your commission. Doesn't seem like much of a meritocracy.
It does have that vibe, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess it does have the vibe. I don't remember us getting like any specific like.
Yeah, there's not a specific thing, but I think George is probably right. It probably is the same way because we do also in this chapter we didn't point it out, but the cavalry that Osprey has, I point out all of them except for the cavalry. The cavalry are all nobles, as she points out. Like they're all noblemen with nice armor and everything, the quote unquote best of the best.
Right,
but that's just because they're noblemen and they've been able to train and equip themselves. So
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I would say it probably is the same there. But Regret, he has got a hilarious name. But yeah, he's kind of just the vessel to show that Orso isn't just like not trying anything.
Mm-hmm.
But as for Andish, we talked about it just a minute ago, but Andish is like I like how all the captains are all kind of like suspect of what Koska's doing. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, why aren't we attacking? Like they all like him, but at the same time they're like, I just think it's so funny.
He does seem competent, and he does question, and I do like that. I like the fact that they don't just go along with it straight away. They're just like, what's going on here?
They also seem a lot more competent than Koska's future captains. I'm supposed to say that.
Yeah, we will have to talk about them three in the future.
Yeah, we will. We'll address them. But he's a lot. All three of them, but Andish especially is a lot less unhinged than a lot of the other guys. He's like a totally competent dude. Who's playing the game, and he's obviously kind of a scumbag, and he's part of the trio. But I don't know. I feel like he had to die, otherwise Koska wouldn't have gotten away with what he needed to get away with. But
No, he didn't have to. He didn't have to. He could have just eventually.
He had to do it to frame Regret.
He wasn't even going to frame Regret.
He didn't have to do that either.
Think about it.
As soon as he told him,
he could have just told his captains, "Hey, I took money."
But then why did he stab him with Regret's sword?
Because that was just he's all about opportunity, right? He couldn't predict what Regret would have done. Maybe Regret would have sent a contingent of soldiers to force Koska to send men, whatever. But he just what he could have done, right, was just told his captains, Cesaria, Victus, and Andish, "Hey, I'm not. I took money. We're just gonna stay out of it." Actually, they would be like, "All right, cool." The reason he's doing all the subterfuge is to hide the fact that he's actually on the path for vengeance against these people, which we immediately get the sense of. So as soon as we get into the tent, then he's like, "Oh, I can do this." Koska, he's always like on the fly.
Of course, yeah, of course.
Yeah. He probably came up with that on the. Yeah. Right. Yeah. He came up with that on. Yeah. I bet. I like the idea of that fact that he he didn't have this all planned out, but he just kind of had a rough idea, like, I'm going to kill these guys.
Yeah.
And then you get to that point, and he's like, oh, here's my opportunity. Oh, I'll just use Rigrat's sword. That's perfect. I'll just frame him.
Yep.
Oh, Rigrat died. Come on, friendly. But that's okay. I didn't explain. I know I'm off the cuff. But, yeah, I always... I just think that these guys are just normal dudes. And honestly, if anybody else was in that position, like as a captain of the Thousand Swords, we'd probably all do the same shit they all did. You know?
Probably.
If we got
Absolutely.
to that point.
And this is another one of those times where I'm going to point out, I'd love it if Joe Abercrombie thought of his big little people chapters.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to see this from Andish's perspective. Or Rick Rat's perspective. Like, Andish just be like, yeah, I know Casca's doing something here, but, like, how much questioning can I get away with?
So, wait, just be clear. Andish.
Or Andish or Rick Rat.
Andish stepped in front of you and took the sword thrust.
Yeah.
Yes, it was for money. Oh, okay, never mind then.
Oh dear.
That's a good one. All right, well, that's the end of that segment. You know, for the character spot. Andish, rest in shit. Rigrat, rest in shit. Sorry, man. You guys just actually no, I'm being mean. Rest in peace, fellas. Rest in peace. That's our show, everyone. We want to thank you all for listening and supporting this podcast. As you know, this is a passion project for the three of us, and your support means oh so much.
Join us next week as we cover The Fate of Styria and To the Victors. ...
And make sure you follow us on all of our social media, and I have a website at circleoftheworld.com.
And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And please make sure to rate and review this podcast. Thank you all again for listening.
I'm trying to philosophize.